Hi, this is Seth David from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, bringing to you yet another special screencast. This one's on turning lemons into lemonade and then cash, with some assembly required. Previously, I had done a series on bookkeeping basics, which I used the lemonade stand as the example for how to set up a simple business where we didn't really take the inventory into account. We just sold lemonade and made our deposits and recorded the sale. Well, now we're going to take it several steps further, because what I did was I looked up the recipe for lemonade online and I researched online the cost of all the ingredients and what it would take based on the recipe in order to make 1 cup of lemonade. And we're going to make it by the pitcher. The critical part here is, let's say, for example, that our lemonade stand business has grown and now we've got every major block covered in our neighborhood. Well, you see here we've got all the stands, all the pictures of the stands. We're going to take a look at what that looks like in QuickBooks. Now, based on the research I did, I've got it sketched out here in terms of what it takes in order to make the lemonade. So in the rest of this video, what you're going to see is basically how we take this information and the research I did on what it costs to come up with the total cost per cup, selling it for $1, making 64 cents on each cup of lemonade that we sell. How would we set that up in QuickBooks, and how would that work? Now, keep in mind, you can take this in a generic context, apply it into your own business, and as always, I'm available for additional one-on-one training if you want some help getting this kind of thing set up for your business. What we're really talking about here is assembly items, where there's basically ingredients or work in process inventory that needs to be brought together to create a finished good. That's in generic context what we're looking at here. So I hope you enjoy the webcast, and I look forward to seeing you on the web. So the first thing we need to do is we need to do our research, as you saw just a second ago. I've got it all laid out here. Now, obviously some time went into this before I got to this point that you're seeing here, where I actually went online, I found a recipe for lemonade, I researched the ingredients, what they cost, how much of each ingredient it takes to create. In this case, it was by the pitcher, and then it said that a pitcher serves 6 people, so that's 1 cup of, or 6 cups of lemonade rather, per pitcher. So I laid it all out here in Excel, and then what I did was I went ahead and started setting it up in QuickBooks. I don't have time in a short webcast to walk you through the entire process, because I've got to keep this under 15 minutes at the most for YouTube's sake, and also I want to keep it short and simple. But I will put up, as always, the full-length version, which will be available for a low price in my Knowledge Center for about $5. I'll put it up there, and you can purchase and download, and that will walk you through actually step by step how I've created all of this from the start. But what we're doing here is we need to set up our inventory parts. So I've got my lemons, I've got my paper cups, my sugar, my water, and that's the assembly item. We'll get to that in a second. So the way I set each of these items up for the ingredients is I set up my lemons, and my lemons I figured out were going to cost me 25 cents a piece. So I put them in at a cost of 25 cents a piece, and I basically go in and record that. So I set up my item. It's an inventory part. It's called lemons. It goes to lemonade sales. Even though I'm not actually selling the individual lemons, QuickBooks requires an account be assigned. And of course, the cost of goods sold account is cost of goods sold, and the inventory asset is the inventory asset. So I do that for each of these. The paper cups, I go in and they're costing me 3 cents a piece, because I figured out that I'm going to buy them for $29.99 per thousand. So that comes out to about 3 cents. It's rounded. And I've got my sugar. I set up my sugar at 27 cents. It's basically going to come out to 27 cents per pitcher. So because I figured out that I need 1 cup of sugar per pitcher, and a 5-pound bag of sugar is $2.99. That gives me 11.25 cups, which comes out to 25 cents per pitcher for 1 cup. I've got my water. I know that I can go to my local water store and get a 5-gallon bottle of water at $1.50. So that's how I set that up. Then I have to create the inventory assembly item. I come over here and I want to create 1 cup of lemonade. And I have to do a little bit of math on this, because if I've got 4 lemons in a pitcher and that makes 6 cups, then the quantity that I'm putting into 1 cup, remember 1 cup is 1/6 of a pitcher, I have to do a little bit of math here, and I take 4 divided by 6, it comes out to a long decimal, and I get my 17 cents cost per cup. Because remember, I've got to get the stuff in terms of how I'm going to sell it. So I get it in terms of 17 cents per cup. The sugar, similar type of formula, but here I'm going to do 1 divided by 6, because I've got the sugar in terms of 1 pitcher already. Paper cups is 1 for 1. The water I'm setting up based on 1 divided by 80 actually, because the 5-gallon bottle will make 80 cups. So, and then I've got my kid labor. We decided we're going to pay the kids 10 cents per cup as a commission every time they sell a cup at one of the lemonade stands. So we've got the items set up here. Then what I did was I went in and I went to the local grocery store and I recorded a check. I'm assuming it's a debit card, so I put it in as an EFT. It's important. I'm in my items tab here, and I go in and I said I'm going to buy 8 lemons at 25 cents each. I'm going to buy my sugar. 11.25 cups is what I'm going to get. Now we've got some rounding issues here, and it is important probably to make sure that this works in terms of the numbers. So let's make this just 11. So at least it comes out to less than the $2.99 for 5 pounds, and you're going to see in a minute why that becomes important. The cups are straightforward. It's 1,000 of them at 3 cents. It actually should be probably 0.0299. So that I get $29.90. I've changed the cost for paper cups. Do I want to update? Sure. That means it's going to permanently stamp the item's description with the updated cost. So that way it comes out to $29.90. And I wonder if I can actually just make that $29.99. Yes, I can. So I just increased the decimal. It's important that the numbers work because the numbers translate to the quantities which have to be taken out of inventory to create the assembly item. So that's why that's important. Then I come over here and I've got my water, and I said I'm going to buy 2 of those 5-gallon bottles at $1.50 a piece. So that's fine. So now I've got the ingredients purchased that I need. I'm going to save and close this. Yes. It says the transaction's not in balance. I've got to hit my recalculate button down here because I changed some of the items here, and this amount wasn't the same. Now I can save and close it. Yes, and now I'm ready to create the assembly item. So I can go to Vendors, Inventory Activities, and Build Assemblies. And it tells me I've got sufficient quantity only to create 5.99 of these. So maybe what I want to do is go back and see what I did when I wrote that check, because I thought I had enough to create at least 2. So I have 8 lemons. I've got enough sugar to create more than enough. I've got plenty of cups, and I've got plenty of water. Let's see if I go back to the building the assemblies, if maybe what happened is when I created this before, I think the original build was actually already on here. So let me clear this out. Go to the previous one. Yes, I had already built one assembly on this. So let's delete this. And that way you can see how this works. So when I go to the build assemblies, let's start over with a clean screen. We're going to go to Vendors, Inventory Activities, and Build Assemblies. Coming in here, you're going to choose your assembly item. We're creating 1 cup of lemonade. And over here, notice it says I've got 11.99. There's a rounding issue, and I know where it is. It's in the lemons, actually, the way the lemons are calculating, and you'll see that. Let's say I'm going to make 1 pitcher, which is 6 cups. Remember, we have to do the conversion. So I'm going to make 1 pitcher, which is 6 cups. And notice what happens here. On my lemons, it's saying I need 4.00002. So something's wrong with the way the lemons are being costed out, so that it's requiring more than 4 lemons for a pitcher, which is why I don't have enough quite to create 2 pitchers here. And I should. So I would really need to go back and tweak the lemons, the cost of the lemons somehow, and adjust them just slightly so that this works. But somehow it's coming out to, something slightly more, just a hair more than 4 lemons per pitcher. So that's why I've got a rounding issue. And you're going to have that. And the reality is, keep in mind that sometimes you're going to lose inventory. You're going to spill sugar on the table. Your kids are going to come in. They're waiting for you to give them the pitcher to go sell, and they're going to take a cup of sugar and just eat it and swallow the sugar, because kids like to do stuff like that. So you're not going to get the use of all of your ingredients. It's called shrinkage. When some of your inventory, doesn't become able to be used, it walks out the door, or it's spilled, whatever it is. You don't get to use it all. So realize that some of the real cost of producing your product is going to be something higher than what you've calculated in an analysis like this. But as you can see, it's important to do your homework, and Excel is a great tool to help you do that in order to set this up before you set it up. Otherwise, you're going to spend hours trying to get these numbers and figure out how is this all going to work and do the translations. Much easier to do it in Excel. So this is how you get the assembly items created. Like I said in the beginning, if you want the full length, which will walk you through step by step, really how to create all of this from soup to nuts, as they say, then I've got that available in my Knowledge Center. If this was sufficient for you to get the idea of what you need to go do, then hopefully, that's what I hope to accomplish for most of you out there, is to be able to take what you see here and go create it for your own company. But again, I'm available for one-on-one private training. You share your screen with me. I send you a link. You share your screen, and I coach you through step by step exactly how to get something like this set up for your business. Again, in the generic sense, we're talking about how to take the situation where I have smaller components that make up one finished product and get that set up in QuickBooks so I can buy the components, build the assemblies like you see here, and then we go to sell them. And speaking of that, let's build this assembly and let's quickly just do a sale. We're going to go to customers. We're going to enter our sales receipts. Now, in a case like this, what I did was I said we've got stands, lemonade stands everywhere, so I set it up based on location. I'm not tracking it by customer. So I've got 1 cup of lemonade, and I'm going to say we sold all 6 cups. So we've got $6. The default setting in QuickBooks, if I don't change the preference, is that it will actually put that money into undeposited funds, so that now when I go to make a deposit, I have to check this off, take it out of the payments to deposit, and now I can put it into my bank account, save and close, and I'm home free. So it's that simple. You would just track your sales. I've got it set up so that you're describing things in terms of each cup of lemonade that's sold. So when the kids come back from the lemonade stand at the end of the day, they tell me they sold all 6 cups. Boom, I'm done. Now I'm keeping it simple in terms of the 6 cups for the sake of this example. Obviously, if you were really doing a lemonade stand business, you'd hopefully sell a lot more than 6 cups in one day. But you get the picture. The picture is that take that 6 and multiply it by 100. Hopefully you sell 600 cups of lemonade a day. So you're making $650 a day based on the profit we figured out, minus the shrinkage. Maybe you're making $500 a day selling 600 cups of lemonade. You get the picture. This is basically how it works. As always, I hope you've gotten something useful and valuable out of this. Give me a call at 866-945-8070 for additional training on this or any other topic that you've seen me cover in my blog or anywhere else on the web. I look forward to seeing you on the web.